What is good in the hood? A few things before I jump into the triggers. The new Seller Central, I know people aren't bullish on the new Seller Central. They think it sucks in comparison to the old one. I have done a little bit of experimenting behind the scenes. I have noticed some little stupid advantages that might not seem stupid, but might seem stupid to some. But you can actually now delete thousands of old inactive listings at a time. So if you're familiar with the old one, you could only delete, one page at a time. Well, with the new one, you can have it set and you can click multiple pages and nuke them all at once. If you haven't noticed, you probably have the stranded inventory that's showing up as like it's inactive inventory that you need requalification for or something along those lines. So I've made it a purpose to go in and nuke all of the old listings. So I tried it on the new one, just screwing around to see because I didn't feel like sitting there clicking on all the pages and spending my whole week doing it. But the new Seller Central, you can filter it the same way and you can nuke, 1,000, 2,000 of these listings at a time. You don't have to worry about doing it page by page by page by page. Um, Brian the book guy. I wonder if I should let this guy in because he's trying to steal my name. Right. So Brian the book guy's in the waiting room right now for
Let him
everybody
have it.
here.
Let him have it. Trade the names. Come on.
I
You can give it to
mean,
him.
maybe he can. Maybe he can have it. That is, one of the things though, that has been beneficial. I know Feed has been messing around with the new one now since it's came out. Eventually, everybody's going to get rolled out to the new Seller Central. So if you kind of hate it, you're going to have to kind of deal with it eventually. So I've switched mine over to permanently be the new one. It's just stupid the way the tabs are set up, but you can delete more than 250 listings. You can do multiple pages and delete 1,000 inactive listings. Now, before you go do this, don't get ahead of yourself because if you delete a listing and you get a return and you don't have a listing, it's going to go stranded. So make sure you're only nuking listings that are like over 90 days old, but it will help you when you run into some of this stranded inventory that's quote unquote qualification required or high pricing errors. And you go and look and it's all those inactive listings. I'm going to try to get mine cleaned up to about 1,000 units. There was one point in time where I had about 25,000 units. And as Go2Lister rolls out the instant SKU, what's going to happen here, it's going to create that listing once you scan it and it's an accept. So now when you go to list it, you get the label right away, but that's going to create the listing for multiple conditions, right? So like say for example, you're sourcing DVDs and you sell DVDs as used very good, used like new and brand new, right? It's going to create three different SKUs for that same item. So this is something in the future it's going to be easier for us to go in and delete all of those listings. There's nothing wrong with having inactive listings. You're not doing anything bad, evil. Nothing's going to happen to you. I just got all these stupid high pricing errors of inactive listings and qualification required on all of these inactive listings. And now that we can go in and easily delete them with the new flow, with the new Seller Central, I figure why not? It takes a fraction of the time to do it. But there's nothing wrong with just leaving them in there. If you don't want to be bothered by it, that's a-okay. That's just something I kind of seen in the past week here that I just wanted to bring to everybody's attention. I'm going to show you guys. Actually, I think Avery has it set up now. I can. Uh, all right. So here goes the trigger set code for those that want the triggers on the Go2Scout app. So that is the code of the trigger set I'm going to share with you guys here in a second. You can just enter this code in the app or on the web. I'm going to show you guys the trigger on the web. I've been waiting for it to go on the web because I think it's easier to build triggers on the web and then just have it automatically on your app. That's how I've always done it with Scoutly and Scout IQ. Trying to set them up through your phone's a pain in the ass to me. I fat finger a lot of things, and it's just easier to read and look at on the computer. But that's my code. And when it launches in 2 or 3 weeks, whatever Avery said, I'm going to do a full complete like trigger walkthrough video. But there are some cool things I kind of wanted to talk about in the triggers here. Let me just get my screen sharing. Share screen. All right, so it kind of, if you guys are familiar with my Scoutly triggers, it kind of sort of stayed the same. Um, After 60 days inactive, I just close mine, then delete the close that. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. There's nothing wrong with doing that either. Because I think close will exclude them from like the pricing errors and the requalifications as well. So books is pretty straightforward. If you're familiar with my Scoutly Scout IQ triggers, um, this kind of works the same way. It does have the correct buy box data, right? So when we scan an item now, you'll see the actual buy box data with Go2Scout versus Scoutly. They're not pulling the correct data. I've tried it. I demoed it. You can name these whatever you want. I kind of just took the route of having it kind of in your mind of what these ranks I would categorize them as, right? Like a book under 500K should be a guaranteed sale to everybody, right? If you're pricing it correctly. Anything 500 to 1 mil should sell. Then I have yellow, orange, because these are ones you want to take a second look at, right? These might not be the fastest moving books, 1 to 3 million. The sales pulse is the same as sales score e score. So, how many days out of the last 6 months has it sold? Now, we also have to take this into consideration. This is something that really has never really been talked about in the community is that sales pulse doesn't mean it was a used sale. It could be a new sale of that item, right? So, if you see something that's got a 6 sales pulse and you're thinking, oh man, it's going to sell. It's used. Well, what if, Amazon's on the listing and it's been the new one that's been selling the whole time? So just have that in the back of your mind as you go down this ladder. Be more picky, especially with books. You will get punished with books big time if you do not sell them. Storage fees will eat you up. Amazon will delightfully take all of your money. I had two students today actually that can relate to books. Removal fees, one of them paid $400 just the past few days in removal fees for books because they didn't have it set up correctly to liquidate and then dispose of. So they had it set up to automatically return everything after 12 months. Do not do that. At 12 months, you need to liquidate and then dispose of. You have to liquidate at 12 months. You will get punished for books. So the profit now $4 is kind of on the lower end. I wouldn't be mad if you put this to 5, right? I'm not going to be mad about it if you're being a little bit more greedy. The only caveat to that is as you go up in profit, you are quote unquote going to find less because you're looking for the better quality stuff. And some people get defeated if they go out and they're scanning. I look today, I got a 6% accept rate from the last time I reset my scouting app. If you guys don't know, like you can go and see like what your accept rate is on Scoutly or Scout IQ. On the main page, you can just swipe to the left, and I got a 6% accept rate. So as you go up in profit, you're going to find less. So it's kind of a catch 22, but we're all in this situation where we got to be making better buying decisions. So I wouldn't be mad if you left this at $4. Now, if you're doing bulk, you got to have a completely different trigger set, right? So when I used to do bulk pickups, or I'm buying bulk, you got to go down in profit because we got to monetize as much as we possibly can. But there's a cool feature in the Go2Scout that I'm going to show you where you can set up the buyback to only paying for a certain dollar amount, right? We all know you scan stuff and basically it pops up every single time. Sell back your book, will give you a nickel, give you a nickel. Well, you can have it set up through this where maybe you only want it to tell you that they're buying it if it's at least $2, $3. So you don't get all the little dollar, the pennies, the penny junk popping up when you're scanning. It'll only alert you if it's over the certain dollar amount you set. So as we look to the right here, another pretty cool thing that I wouldn't be mad about here is how we're sourcing the price. So you see here you have low merchant fulfilled. I wouldn't be mad instead of buy box for 3 million to 6 million if you had this set to low merchant fulfilled, right? Because this is the stuff that is really slow moving and I want you to be the best price across the board, not the buy box price. It says longer look for a reason, right? When I made my trigger set for Scout Lean Scout IQ at the beginning of the year, my rule of thumb for this trigger set was it reminds you to take a look to see what is going on in the merchant column. Well, this has a built in where you can automatically compare it to the lowest merchant fulfilled. So I would be a-okay if you have this set to lowest merchant fulfilled. So when you scan something that is a slower moving book, but remember, you scan it, you're going against the lowest merchant fulfilled. Now, when you list it, you got to make sure that you're staying in line. You can't source one way and list it a different way, right? If we know we're buying it to be the lowest merchant, don't all of a sudden try to be a greedy little bugger and get more money out of it when you list it, right? Like, no, we see it's ranked above 3 million when we list it. We got to be the cheapest price in the game. There is so much money still to be made in slow moving books. And you'll see all over Facebook, all over the world, people say, I don't buy books over 1 million rank. I've made probably tens and tens of thousands of dollars on books ranked over 1 million, probably over 2 million too over the years. Don't let it scare you, but be smart about how you price it initially and only buy the stuff where you can be the best price in the game. Some other things we got here. Percentage off, you always want to have that in case Amazon's on the listing. And then we have the wonderful condition bump, which got me in a lot of trouble when it comes to conditioning because you guys know, right? Like I'm like new, right? The stuff I'm sending in is super clean. I'm not sending in beat up junk. Well, you can have it set to get a condition bump. So it recognizes if there's anybody else that doesn't have the condition you have, right? So I'm like new. Maybe there's only good on the listing. There's only good copies of the books on the listing. It recognizes that and it gives us a 5% bump. Now, yet again, right? When we list the items, and you hover over, you see the little keeper graph. It shows you, right? VG, very good, good. Now we have to remember to ourselves, all right, well, I'm like new copy. I'll tell you right now, I'm always putting an extra dollar, dollar 50, $2. Because if I don't see anybody that's like new, there is a significant condition bump that exists nowadays. I've seen it from both sides. I've seen it where I win, and I've seen it on my good items that I'm losing the buy box to a merchant just because they are very good and they're charging more than my FBA good copy. So I see it both ways. I see it more now in my favor versus going against me because I'm not doing good anymore. But it's just one of those things where we could, get a little bit of extra money. And I know a dollar, dollar 50, $2 doesn't sound exciting, but if you sell 500 books a month, it's an extra $1,000 in your pocket, right? So take advantage of that. The little stuff adds up in this. Would be OP if a scouting software showed used eScore, new eScore. Yeah, I know that would be pretty crazy. I just don't know. I don't know the first thing about it, but I do know we've always just assumed that like, oh, the eScore sales pulse is just the used copy selling, and that's not the case. It's just how many days it's sold in the past 6 months. So it doesn't guarantee. And we all know new sells better than used, right? No matter what category. So have that in the back of your mind too. That one sales score, two sales score item might only be the new copies that sell, and a used copy hasn't sold in 10 years for all we know. Um, Now, the sales pulse, this is another one. You kind of got to be a little bit leery of what you're doing, right? Six is only once a month. We don't want to kind of have a bunch of six sales pulse items. I'd rather you focus on, 12. So I wouldn't be mad if you went up to 12. If you wanted to be a little bit crazy with it, like I probably will wind up having mine at three, just so I can see like, okay, if it is something that's long tail, I'm fine with it because I'm super aggressive. You guys know when I list something, I'm pricing it at the lowest price. My repricer after 6 months is going against everybody, merchants, FBA. And then, at a year, it's basically sold anyway. So I try to basically sell through all of my inventory aggressively. So I wouldn't be mad if for the longer tail, if you didn't want to be as risky, go up to 10, 12. But if you did want to kind of see, maybe take a few risks and kind of gamble a little bit on some of the long tail stuff, drop it down to three. I wouldn't go below three. Back in the day, I used to say one's good, right? Like if we got a one, we're in the game. Like we're ready to go. Um, Hide accept offers added to lineup for triggers, right? I'm not sure. We could guess the used e-score based on price changes, sales pulse. Okay, I mean that would benefit us honestly because if it is something that we can't really do anything, we kind of roll with it. All right, so this is really up to you. Be greedy. At least $10 for this stuff. These slow moving books, we got to make at least $10 on because we have to get our money out of it. If they don't sell, we're going to have to pay at least $2. Minimum is $2 to remove a book. You're probably looking at closer to $3 on average per book. So have that in the back of your mind. Be a pickier book sourcer. We still want the fast moving stuff that's going to basically guarantee to sell, but we have to still get the money that's out there, right? We can't leave money on the table. Your objective when you walk in the store is if I come in behind you The used book guy should find nothing. If I come in and scan behind anybody, there should be nothing left for me. I want you to have that same idea as when you leave the store, there's nothing there for the next scanner to come in and get. Maybe one or two that really weren't worth it for you, but kind of mold this into what you want it to be, what you expect it to be. And the more profit you're shooting for, you might find less, but on the back end, you're doing less work and you're making more money with a higher ASP versus somebody that has a lower ASP. So that kind of covers the books here. I do think we should take advantage of the condition bump because it is real. It does exist. It's not just stuff that I've made up. We've ran the numbers on multiple accounts in all of the categories. Doesn't matter if you're FBA or FBM. If you have a worse condition, you are losing the battle. If it's FBA versus merchant or merchant versus FBA, your condition now does matter along with price, and you can price significantly more. I've seen in some cases, I've been at 650 FBA, and I'm losing to, $11 merchant fulfilled. That's very good over my good copy. So have that in the back of your mind with conditioning. You don't feel like you're doing anything wrong, right? Like you're following Amazon's guidelines. Don't post about it in a Facebook group because everybody will say you're a scammer, whatever. But if you follow Amazon's guidelines, you're going to be a-okay, right? It's not like what I'm doing, I'm breaking terms of service. I'm literally following Amazon's guidelines. At the end of the day, they pay me. You should have the same mindset, not Joe Blow in the Facebook group that says, well, I think that book should be good condition. It's got a little nick on the cover. Well, what is Amazon telling us? Not you, right? So just have that in the back of your mind. Be more picky. We're not sending in anything acceptable ever again. Acceptable does not win the buy box. Do not waste your time sending in anything acceptable. I never messed around with it to begin with, but I know some people are like, should I send it in? No. If you got to ask yourself, should you send it in? It doesn't get sent in. Don't waste time with acceptable. The same with collectible. If you're going to list a collectible, just throw it up on eBay, get the sale that way instead of trying to get super hidden on Amazon, send it back in as collectible to avoid a high pricing error. High pricing errors are just a part of being an Amazon seller. And believe it or not, they're not as bad as they used to be. There was a point in time, probably about a year and a half ago, where everybody had 50 high pricing errors around the clock. It was just a part of doing business on Amazon. So just have that in the back of your mind here. We'll swap over to this DVDs. So the DVDs and CD category are basically the same. So we can carbon copy the DVD trigger set to the CD trigger set. I kept the words the same just because I feel like it's easier if we kind of train our minds to see what's going on. So you kind of can see the correlation of what a good book is that's guaranteed to sell to what a good DVD and a good CD is that I think is guaranteed to sell, right? So let me see here. Does no FBA listed still make lower score units worth a second look? Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on the merchant offers. I think it really depends. If there's merchants under $10 on any listing, you're probably leaving that behind. But if there's merchants and there's no FBA and they're at 20, $30, like buy it, send it in at 17.49, you'll get the sale basically instantly. Like this, I don't want to say the sales pulse can be misleading, but I've had items that were ranked 8 million. I sold books that were ranked 8 million in like 2 weeks of it getting checked in because I was the best price. So when you're listing it, just make sure you're going off the Keepa data that's in front of you. Like how many times do you scan something and you're like, shit, this thing's worth $300. And you get home, you list it, it says the buy box is $300. And then you look and you see the black price line has jumped all the way up on the Keepa chart after the last sale. So just some bozo put it all the way up to 300 and Amazon decided to give them the buy box. But that book is really worth $10 or $15, right? I'm not saying drop down to the last sale. You still can get more than that because there's nobody else there. But be realistic with how you're pricing your items. It's the most important thing. We can go source until we're blue in the face. But if we're not consistently sending it in and pricing it correctly from the get-go, your stuff's never going to sell. You can have the best inventory, but if you got it all overpriced, it's never going to. Sure, you might have occasionally have somebody buy an item that's overpriced from what it last sold for. And the Go2Scout even shows you like what the historical buy box is. So you can see like if the current buy box is $1,000 and the historical buy box is 1249, right? Like we don't care what that buy box is. You're not going to get the sale for that. You have to be realistic with how you're pricing and how you're sourcing your items. It's such a big deal. We kind of just let it go. It's just one of those things. Is the program looking at new or used buy box? Used. Or you can click it over to new. So there is a toggle now. So say you walk into a place like the record stores. Some record stores have just like new, just all new, like a section of new DVDs, right? There is a toggle button now, so it will personally scan for just new. All right, so I'll show you guys real quick. Let me stop sharing my screen. So it's going to be hard to see. This toggle right here that says new and use. So if you toggle that over, it will only scan versus the new versus the use. So it works both ways, which is kind of neat. I mean, some of us go in, I know some people will only scan the new DVDs and CDs. They walk in, they flip out all the new DVDs and just scan them. So you can have it set up where you don't even have to really pay attention because it's automatically going to pull the new buy box data for you right there. And it even has the historical new buy box. So you get the historical use, historical new, and then the current use and the current new, which is actually accurate. But the historical one's going to be good for those items that are super inflated. And you're like, man, is this really a $500 item? Well, you can see right now on the screen, well, the historical used buy box has been 20 bucks. So it's not a $500 item just because somebody currently has it up at $500 and they're winning the buy box. Um, Now you will see my profit is lower on the DVDs and CDs because the fees are less. So we can take quote unquote more risk. Um, there's if we have to have a DVD or CD removed after 12 months, we're looking at 82 cents for a removal, right? Most of these are going to sell before then. We can go lower in our price too throughout the 12 months of it being at Amazon. You still can sell a DVD, CD at 5.75 and make a couple pennies, right? It's not exciting, but we avoided the removal fee. We're not in the business of selling everything. It's never going to happen with media. You're always going to have a portion of your inventory that we have to get rid of at the end of the road. So don't get caught up if you wind up having items that are sitting there and they don't sell at the end of 12 months. You still are doing a-okay as long as the money's coming in along the way. You're going to get all of your money from a small portion of your items. The other stuff is kind of just icing on top of the cake and it sells throughout and kind of maintains you throughout the 12-month cycle that you're consistently sending inventory in. So we start out with the 24 sales pulse. That's a DVD that sells once a week, right? 24 sales pulse. That means once a week, this item sells. New or used, that's what we're rolling with, right? Guaranteed to sell. Anything under 50K is guaranteed to sell. Should sell is 50 to 100K. Take a look up to 200K. I wouldn't be mad if you didn't go over 200K. If you said, Mike, you're a psychomaniac for going over 200K for CDs and DVDs. I just have had some sales, and if you're aggressive with pricing up, kind of like Brian was saying, if you can be the lowest player, the lowest price on some of this long tail stuff, especially if it's inflated, it will sell way faster than the sales pulse is indicating because you don't know how long Tommy Boy has had that CD listed, at $1,000. He could have had it listed at $1,000 for the last 3 months. Well, of course there hasn't been a sale. It's a $25 CD. You come in, you throw it in at 25 bucks. That quick, it's gone. You're like, wait a minute, this thing should have took 2 months to sell. Well, that's what it comes into understanding the data and the keep a chart you're looking at and the historical buy box kind of makes it easier for you to understand what the real expectation of an item is. Now there are trends, for a while there, Toby Keith, right? When he passed away, his CDs were through the roof. Taylor Swift, you usually can always get more than what the buy box is. There are trends that come and go in this space, but overall, having the historical buy box data allows you to be, I guess, more realistic, right? Because you see it all the time. People will post these screenshots in Facebook and they're like, is this really a $1,200 book? And you're like, no, it's not even close. Like, it's probably an $8 book, right? And that's usually way more times it's not worth anything than it actually being worth the super inflated amount that people think it is. All right. You guys got the toggle. People sometimes have triggers set to purchase an overpriced item when it comes to an attractive price. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yep. We take advantage of all the Amazon to Amazon sellers because they think they're getting a good deal, and we think we're getting a good deal. We're like, oh yeah, we turned $1 into 25, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna turn 25 into 50, right? So there's always kind of weird layers to it too. It's like when you list something on eBay, if you ever have, and it sells right away, and you're like, shit, I knew I could have got more money for that, right? Because it sold right away because somebody probably had a bot scraping the internet and they see that specific item pops up at that price. It's kind of like keep alerts, right? Like all the A to A guys got all the keep alerts on certain items. Once that thing hits that price, they get alerted, boom, they pick it up right away. So we also make money kind of from people higher up the pipeline. Database can't come fast enough. Yeah, it'll be nice once we have it. This thing will be ready to go. We can kick Scoutly to the curb and be ready to rock and roll with this. So longer look, anything over 200K. This is like slower moving stuff. I personally have always gone up to 250K, but if you wanted to just cap this out at 200, I would be fine with that. I'd probably drop this down to like a 6 or maybe a 3 if you wanted to not miss some stuff. But I'd be fine if you just stopped at 200K. I go to 250. I like to kind of live on the wild side. Of course, we're going to have the bump. The same thing with this. If you did want to keep this 200 to 250K and go off the lowest merchant fulfilled, I'm a-okay with that. I don't think that's a wrong answer either. That just means when you scan it, you're competing against everybody. So you know if that thing hits for the $8 profit, that we can be the lowest price across the board and still be good. So yeah, the CDs is going to be basically the same exact thing. I just didn't update the sales pulse or it didn't save for some reason. But CDs, carbon copy of this, same exact profit. The DVD and CD category are basically the same. They have the same amount listings in the catalog. They have the same exact fees basically. So they go hand in hand. You can just copy the DVDs to the CDs. Video games, I'm not a huge video game seller. I do have some when I go to pawn shops, I'll scan. I have one trigger set for video games. Up to 100K, it's got to sell at least 6 times in 180 days. That's equivalent to once a month. And I just roll off the buy box. Although I've never been buy box eligible in video games. I usually price mine at lowest merchant fulfilled. So honestly, I'm just going to change that now because Amazon's never liked me enough to give me the buy box for video games. I still do a condition bump. With video games, you always want to be at least very good. You don't even want to send it. You don't even want to send in any good condition items, honestly, anymore. It all has to be very good or like new. I'm not telling you to cheat the system. I'm just telling you to play by the rules that are going to get you moving in the right direction. If you're still conditioning your items good in 2026, you are getting absolutely hosed and crushed, even if you have a better price. And if you think these big wigs, these huge warehouse operation Goodwills are conditioning, they don't give a shit. They're just throwing everything in at very good, like new, just because they know that's what the platform expects of them. And, everybody follows the rules, so it's not a big deal to me. But video games, I just have that one. I don't do anything over 100K. Every once in a while you can come across like a valuable like PC game that's sealed, that's new or something like that. There's going to be exceptions to everything, right? This isn't like, okay, you just have these triggers and nothing else matters and you can just throw your earbud in and go scan. Like, yeah, now that we have accurate data, that's 100% way more feasible than it used to be because we're getting the wrong information currently with Scoutly. Well, now if you have your triggers kind of zoned in with what you're looking for, you don't have to have your phone in front of you when you're scanning. You literally can just rock and roll and listen for the greens and leave behind the reds, but make sure your trigger set is set up correctly. One other thing that you got to have set up with this is going to be your settings, is your profit calculation. So on Scoutly and Scout IQ, we had this in our buy costs, right? This is the price that we have for shipping to Amazon and placement fees. I have it at 75 cents. You can have it at whatever you're comfortable with. Remember, placement fees usually run between 20 and 35 cents per item. Usually 25 cents per pound is good. I round up. I'd rather have a little bit more meat on the bone at 75 cents instead of going down to 50 cents. At least 50 cents, no more than 75 cents. This is factored in when you scan every single item, the profit calculation. So we're covering our placement fees and our shipping to Amazon. You hit a book and it says $10 profit. Well, that's factoring in your placement fees and your shipping costs to that item to Amazon. So make sure you go in here and have this set up because it can add up quickly, right? Especially if you have this at 0. You buy a book at $4 profit. Well, it's really closer to $3 profit because you didn't have this set up and you got to pay the placement fees and you got to pay to ship it into Amazon, especially with the books because the books are going to be a little bit more expensive to ship into Amazon. So just make sure you have this set up correctly. Over here, we have our kitchen. So this is where we were talking about, right? So it can auto add accepted books. You scan something, it says accept, it automatically goes to the kitchen. The kitchen starts making the listing right away. So this allows us when we get home and we go to list stuff, it's ready to go. So you don't have to wait no more with, oh, I gotta let the batch sit for an hour, 2 hours, even though you never had to do that. I always only let them sit like 20 minutes, 30 minutes at tops. Now you can list it, get the label out the door immediately. You don't have to wait and let the box populate. It's creating the listing once you turn it into an accept, right? So you can have it set to automatically add it, or there's a little some clever guy thought it would be cool to put like a little shopping basket down here. So you just hit the shopping basket and it'll automatically add it to the kitchen. You decide what conditions you want the kitchen to create for you, right? Well, we know we're not doing good and acceptable. So most of us are going to do very good, like new and new, right? That's just the reality of it. Me, like new or new. If I can't send that thing as like new, but doesn't mean Amazon's guidelines is like new, it ain't even getting to the kitchen. I'm not even buying the damn thing, right? So make sure you have this set up. You can have the auto add accept if you want, or you can just tap it and just add it that way. That's what I did. I did a full batch through the kitchen. So it's just instantly. You get your SKUs right away. You scan it, it prints right out of your Dymo or Rollo or whatever printer you have. So you get the SKU right away. You can put it on right away. I usually say just do a stack at a time. That makes it easier. You're going to be a lot more efficient, right? So like just line up the stack, scan it, let the label print, and then once your stack's complete, rip it off and then just knock out the labels rapid fire. That's going to be the quickest way. You don't want to be like scan one, reach over, grab the damn FNSKU label, scan another one. It'll take you 35 years to get a box done. One stack, rip off the labels, knock them out in order. You're good to go. You don't even have to worry about the box content phase. It's going to have all that built in. So you're just going to, boom, it's going to be super easy. And then down here, the buyback, what I was telling you about, you can set up to even show the buyback offers. If you don't want to deal with the buyback offers, you can just have this toggled off, or you can hide below certain amounts, right? So like, you don't want any of the nickel stuff. I want at least $1, right, for it to even ping to even notify me that it's worth my time. Honestly, if you're kind of like me and you only do textbooks, your best bet would probably be like 750 because that's the amount that gets you free shipping for like sell back your book and thrift books. But you can have this set up to whatever you want it to be, and you don't have to worry about getting ping and hearing, the sound of the buyback for every single item. So that's how you set all of this stuff up. Like I said, when it's officially launched, I'm sure Avery will put out 25,000 videos. I'll put out a video similar to this and have a full walkthrough, and we'll be kicking ass, getting accurate data. But yeah, that's my triggers for that. And of course, if you guys ever need the trigger set, it'll be out there in the universe for everybody to kind of deal with. Is there a reason why sometimes the buy box doesn't show up on the column of listings? It will say buy, don't buy based on the buy box. And when you click on the listing, it doesn't show any as currently listed. Good is not good. Can you throw up the book triggers again? I got you, Tommy. Share, sourcing, triggers, books. So way to connect the Bluetooth scanner. Yeah, I mean it's pretty easy. I just have mine connected to my phone. It automatically picks up through the Go2Scout. The same with Go2Lister. I literally have a Bluetooth scanner, a ring scanner for listing at home. So I keep one up here in the office and I keep the one I actually source with. But this one's paired to the computer. So when I'm listing with Go2Lister there, I can just easily use that. And then I have one that's paired to my phone and it literally you just scan it, it'll just automatically populate the barcode with your Bluetooth scanner. So no more 30 ups. Listen, 30 ups, it's a rite of passage as an Amazon seller. First half call. Will this be available to watch again later? Yes, for $1,000, Tatiana. I will email you it. ISBN scan for the phone. Yes. And the cover scan is the best cover scan on the market, and it's not even close. Especially for books and CDs. I've seen some people yelping about the DVD cover scan. I haven't done enough to test it, but CDs and books, I literally recorded in my last YouTube video. I cover scanned some books because one of my stores covers their damn barcodes with their own stickers, and this allows you to just knock them out and accuse them up top. So you'll be able to see if one pops green, you just go back and grab it. The cover scan is really Avery's probably paying trillions and trillions of dollars for this cover scan software. So we'll bankrupt them off the cover scan alone. It's really good for CDs too. Like those the ones that don't have the the damn barcodes we can scan. It works basically every single time because they nuke the seller app cover scan now is absolutely trash. It's used to be feasible. Now it's garbage. They completely changed it. So literally just cover scan with this and you'll get the right information. Is it available for Android? I believe so. I believe Avery, somebody asked in the group the other day and he just got out the Android version. I used to be the Android only person and then Deb got a new iPhone, so I got her hand me down. So now I'm an Apple guy, not by choice. I was
Good for
forced
you.
into
Good
it.
for you. I'm glad you joined the dark side.
I was forced into it with a hand me down. I was just like, I guess I'll take it. This camera is much better. All right, Ward says he's had good luck with the DVD, so I personally haven't tried it. I'll try some right now. Although 3D cover's not going to work well. Also having several books of printed SKUs that get kicked out of the batch. I've gone in to enter information dimension way anything what's happened to work around to fix it. So if it's not asking or if it's asking for the dimensions and weight, you usually have to wait like 15 or 20 minutes on those for it to populate on the back end. Um, I would probably just enter the weight, try sending it in 20 minutes. If not, I would just delete it out and put it in the next batch because then the data should be on the back end and you should be able just to send it through. There's always going to be errors. You're still going to have errors. It's nowhere near as bad as it used to be. I mean, we used to have piles of errors. Now I think I have one error underneath the desk from last week. So I haven't been running into as many errors, but there's always going to be some that are screwed in the catalog that we're not going to be able to get through. Try it again in 2 weeks. But thankfully, right now is the best time to use buyback companies in the history of selling books on Amazon. You have thrift books and sell back your book. I don't know. They're trying to like one up each other, I guess. If you see some of these books you guys are scanning in the thrift stores, they are paying more than they ever have for books they previously would not buy. So if you're a newer seller, you're restricted, you're gated, I would challenge you all to get your money quick, scan that stuff for the buybacks, get paid in 2 weeks, and then continue to roll that inventory you can sell. But the buybacks are really good right now for books, specifically. They're buying a lot of stuff and paying more than they usually do. Restricted notification, yes, Brian. I told you how to get on Avery about it. Uh, Brian wanted the restriction notice to pop up. It does pop up now, right up top. It'll say restricted. I have one that I was restricted, and I don't know where it went, but it does pop up now, so you'll be able to see. It's not like a little tiny thing anymore. If they're older books, does this happen more often? I wish there was like a rhyme or reason to why they error out. In my experience, and some of the ones I've seen, it's usually the ones that have like Joe Blow took a photo of the book on the listing, and it's just a photo of the like on the desk, right? It's not like an actual Amazon listing photo. Those seem to be the ones that, at least in my experience, if I was like kind of trying to figure it out, seem to error out more than the ones that are like the actual Amazon listings. So that may be the case. And yeah, if the buyback company sucks, you can just send it to Max and he'll sell it for you and give you a 50-50 split. I'm slightly confused. Does one need Scout IQ or Scout if they have Go2Lister? Currently, yes. Once the scouting app comes out, no. You can ditch Scoutly, you can ditch Scout IQ, and you won't need either of those. But right now, yes. But this should be out hopefully by the end of September. We'll be rocking and rolling. All right, lay it on me. What's going on out there in the universe?
Anyone getting good backroom access recently?
That's a good question. I really haven't even thought about that much. I personally haven't had backroom access in the sense of being like in the back room, but I did go into a thrift store the other day and the lady said, "Hey, we got a lot of CDs in the back. I can bring them out." I said, "All right." I mean, I guess that's equivalent to back room, but they just brought it to me instead of me going into the back room. That's the closest thing I got lately. I do think I do think it is time for everybody. I had a one-on-one today with a guy, and he was talking about how he can get more inventory. I think we should go out if you're struggling finding sources and cold email everybody again. So pull up 40 miles within your area, make a little stupid Google Doc or Excel sheet, whatever you're better with. Get every email for every library, every email for every junk company, estate sale company, thrift store, and you're just going to write up an email and just cold email them. It works. I'm not shitting you. Like I got a library, I got an estate sale company and a junk removal company from just cold emailing them saying, "Hey, my name's Mike. I have cats. I do this for a full-time living. I'm willing to help donate to the library in exchange for your extra donations." That gets you in the door. You have to approach each of these differently, right? You can't approach the junk guys the same as you approach the library guys. Libraries are weird and unique situations. They have some of them have weird, like quote unquote rules that really aren't rules. And some of these people have been there for 20 years. And Max can attest to this because he works with libraries. Every library is completely different. And it's like you got to kind of walk on eggshells. The clean out guys, you just tell them, I'll take it all. I'm not going to pick anything. I'm going to give you X amount of dollars, X amount, per book, per CD, per DVD they want to go on. Estate sale guys, it's kind of the same thing. My estate sale guy usually only reaches out if he has a lot of books, CDs, DVDs, because he wants to keep some for his estate sale people to actually come see and buy from him, right? So I usually only get a ring if it's way too much for him to handle, but I do get to go in before the estate sale company like has it open to the public in those rare situations that it does happen. And I think it's time for people to reach back out and start getting some of these relationships. And I know some of us are introverts and we don't want to walk in, like I look like a weirdo walking in with Pepe the Frog on my t-shirt, like, hey, can I get in the back room? And they're like, who the hell are you, guy, right? Cold emails, there's no
I
attachment to
got
it.
backroom access one time wearing a shirt with Mike's face on it.
Yeah, why does he have a shirt with my face on it? Don't ask questions you don't want answers to. All right. I had to walk around with him in public. Him and Fita both had shirts with my face on it in a public space. That
I
was
got seen in a professional context with Mike's face on it that says I can fix him. Just walk straight to the back.
per book.
This
I
is a
pay
true
by
story.
pound. Now, by pound's a pain in the ass. I'm gonna keep it a buck 50. Paying by pound, be equipped for it. By that means you have to have boxes, you have to have a nice scale that's going to be able to get the job done. I paid 15 cents per pound, and it worked out. I never lost on a deal to say the least. Now, books, I'd rather you try to get them for free. Like if you can get like with a clean out company, maybe you can pay per carload. That's probably an easier. Yeah, there goes the t-shirt Fita's holding up that he walked around in public with. Him and
That's the
Max.
same one I got with the backroom access.
Yeah. But don't get too much like
Hey, could you show the back half of that shirt? Do you mind if you show the back half of that?
don't get too crazy with overpaying for books. Don't ever feel like you have the upper hand in these conversations, right? Like you're providing a service, you're giving them your money. Don't ever feel like you're the one that's kind of like on the defensive. You always control the conversation of where it's going. But when I did pay for books, it was 15 cents a pound. And I would go and I would weigh it. I wasn't as efficient as I could have been. You don't want to use bags, you want to use boxes. I have the big Accutech scale. The thing works great. You just throw a box on it, load it up with books. It's portable, it just takes batteries, and then just write down all the weights of the boxes, and then at the end tally it up, times it by 0.15, give them their money. Make sure you got a little receipt book so you can write it off for your taxes. You can write where it was, how much it was, things like that. Yeah, I think it's time for people to get back into relationships and stop solely relying on the thrift stores because thrift stores are tough. 6% accept rate is I spent 12 hours sourcing the other day. It's a grind and it takes scanning thousands and thousands and thousands of units to make it. So having the combo can of a little bit of bulk, maybe one library, and then your thrift stores, that's how you're going to start getting ahead. And once you get in the door, usually you have it for life, right? I mean, who else is going to come in and get my libraries that I work with from me? The answer is nobody because you have the relationship. You take care of people, you treat people how you want to be treated, you're going to be good to go. I mean, it's pretty straightforward from there. What version Go2Lister app are we using? I don't know. I get like 10 updates a day. Like Avery's got these guys updating the app. I get like 10 Go2Lister app updates a day. All right, lay it on me. You guys got to have some questions, concerns. Pallets. You're talking Gaylords? All right, so you don't want to buy from the guy in central Pennsylvania. I'll tell you that right now. CT Disc Media or whatever. Don't buy pallets from central Pennsylvania. They suck. There's a few guys around me that sell bulk. Do not do it. I know people personally that have bought from them, and they say they're not picked over, but they are picked over. Not fully picked over, but anything that's worth like over $10 in profit, they're taking and leaving behind all the little stuff. Your best bet's going to be just Facebook Marketplace and just looking for opportunities. Flea markets, go to flea markets. Some guys got 1,000, 2,000 DVDs. He's probably buying storage units. Hey, you don't even got to bring these to the flea market. I'll buy them all from you. I'll even come to your storage unit and pick them up. That's how you're going to get the bulk. If you think there's just some magic hack to just go on the internet and search Gaylords and you're going to be rolling in the profitable Gaylords, hate to be the bearer of bad news, but FIDA probably would have already bought them up 3 years ago, right? Like it takes time and a little bit of hard work, luck to get some of these relationships. And you get the relationships by getting the word out there of what you're doing. People used to bust on me when I had the stupid like pull tabs, right? The little flyers you put up in the gas stations that's got the tab you can pull. I got so many leads from those stupid pull tabs. I literally used to keep a box of push pins underneath the driver's seat and the Staples envelope that my pull tabs came in because I got to print them out of Staples. Every gas station, every grocery store, right on the community board, pull tabs. More people that know about what you're doing, the more chances of becoming lucky and getting a relationship that's going to last you a while. How long have you been selling books on Amazon? Me? I don't know, 2018, 19? Probably. I wish I could go back and see when I watched the first video. Um, I watched a video that had Avery and John Muscarella Side Hustle Experiment. And the title was something that caught me because it's like this guy's making all this money in central Pennsylvania. Well, John lives like 20 minutes from me. And I was working at CVS and I pulled it up and that's how I started selling books was a podcast Avery did with John Muscarella. It's still on his YouTube channel, years and years and years ago. When can we cancel Scout? Listen, I'm canceling Scoutly first. All right. Everybody else, you guys can get in line. I'm the first to cancel. Once this thing's released and it's rocking and rolling, you'll see the videos and you'll see everybody kind of jumping ship and going over. Will Go2Scout app be included in the 49 monthly fee or will it cost extra? I don't know. I don't think I know Avery is saying something for the beta users. He's going to do something for everybody that helped beta test it. And I think if you have Go2Lister, you can get Go2Scout at a discount in comparison to the other scouting softwares. I do think he will have it as its own entity, right? So like if somebody uses a different listing software, they would pay the premium to have Go2Scout, but I do think there will be something price and TBD. Yeah, so I'll just talk for him. I do think he will have some type of discount if you are using Go2Lister and Go2Scout together. Beta users will be taken care of. So anybody that helped him test it, and if you didn't get in and you want the beta user, just message them and say, "Hey, I want to be a beta user so I can get taken care of after this call." Is PAL's buyback program worth dealing with? I read a review saying get ready to wait 2 months to get paid. Don't mess around with it unless you have gaylords of extra books and you can just drop them off. Um, I wouldn't mess around with it. I would just focus on the big two, sell back and thrift books. I like to think I'm more of an alpha user. Alpha users have to pay 10x what the beta users do. You guys are a quiet bunch tonight. Got a bunch of people in here. Everybody's just vibing
So
out tonight.
I'm thinking about hiring an employee. What steps do I need to take to do that?
First off, you got to be making enough money. Second off, you got to be maxed out on your own time and
Maxed
productivity,
out.
right? And I mean, for your situation, right, hiring somebody, I wish I could hire somebody to drive me around. But it's one of those things like I've always been on the fence. I haven't been against it, but there are steps you have to take to make sure that you're ready for an employee. I think most people in reselling get employees way too early and they just have them do the shit they don't want to do. They're like, man, I don't feel like doing this. So I'm just going to hire somebody. Well, listen, we were talking about 30 up labels earlier. There was a time and place where we listed through Seller Central and the 30 up labels would be just a piece of paper that would print 30 FNSKU labels, not in order. All right. I would do a box of CDs, 180 CDs. I would get 6 full pages of 30 up labels, not in order. So you have to, and you guys know, sometimes these CDs will just be like various artists will be the only thing on the damn sticker. So like you can't even match it up. I remember spending hours back in the day trying to do this. So yeah, it's come a long way. And thankfully it's made our lives a lot easier to be able to be as little involved in the business as possible. But even if you're not using the kitchen, submit your batch in 20 minutes. What I'd like to do is I got everything laid out here. By the time I get my last box listed and priced, I'm already sending the first box. So there should be no break in the workflow, right? Even if you're doing 3 boxes, you list the box, you price it. You go to the next box. You list the box, you price it. Go to the next box. List it before you go to price it. Send the first box. So by the time you're done with that last box pricing it, the first one should be ready to go. Now there are times where you run into one that doesn't create the listing, yada yada yada. But don't be burning all your time. Turn and burn to this. Even when people were like freaking out over, oh, you got to wait 8 hours. I was still in the group and still saying on the videos like you don't have to wait that long, like 20, 30 minutes at most. If you're not going to use the kitchen flow, you do not have to wait that long. If you have the kitchen flow, you're just cutting them loose immediately. Can you still look at eBay sold items from Go2Scan? Yes. There's a little icon up top. It says it's a little eBay icon. You can't really see it on the phone, but yes, there is an eBay button. Which, let's see here, may need to I may have a an issue for you to fix right here, right now, Avery. It looks like it's putting the ASIN. Let me see. Barcode. Let me just make sure. No, it's working fine. I don't know why that one pulled up, just putting the ASIN in, but to put the UPC into eBay. Will you post this video? Avery can post it if he wants. I don't care. We have all the recording for the Go2Lister videos. Me and Avery were talking about it. Just maybe him having a playlist on his channel and he can post this out or he can email blast it out to just the Go2 Lister members. Even if he wants to do some of the previous ones that we have, I have those as well if he doesn't have them. So you guys can get a few of the back ones that we have recorded. I just print them out of regular paper, cut them out. Yeah, the good old eBay days when you first start and you're like cutting it out, and then you got to put like 6 strips of clear tape over it, and then God forbid if you get like a bubble in the tape over the barcode. I remember when I first got the full sheets that were like 2 shipping labels on one page. I was like, I'm the greatest reseller ever. This is so easy now. What's a reasonable time to be seeing profit selling books? Ooh, that's a loaded question. I guess it depends on how much you're sending and how much you're spending. I like to think the first 3 months, if you're ramping up significantly, you should start to see progress. If you think you're going to start this month and you're going to be making $1,000, that's not the case, right? Amazon has, you know, distribution disbursements now after delivery date, DD plus 7. So you go out today, you source it, you send it tomorrow. It takes 2 weeks to get to Amazon fully checked in, right? So you're already at 2 weeks. It sells, they got to ship it to the customer. Then you got to wait 7 days from the delivery date to get the funds into your bank account. So your minimum to see any type of profit is probably 2 months if you are sending in really quality good stuff in the beginning that's fast moving. Realistically, if somebody came to me, a friend, family member said, "Hey, how long is it going to take for this to go?" I'm probably say you're looking at probably a 4 to 8 month runway to really get this thing off the ground. I did have a one-on-one today with a lady, and she started in February. We are now in August, and she's already making over $3,000 a month profit doing this on the side, not even her full-time thing. So there are people still out there getting results. We also have people in my group that are solo thrifting cherry pickers that are doing over $50,000 a month in sales on Amazon by themselves cherry picking. Now, these guys and girls are grinders. They're out living in the thrift stores 50 plus hours a week. But it is good to know that these people exist and the possibility is still there. So there's still people getting results with this. And I think if you approach it from a realistic expectation of, I'm going to give this 3 to 6 months to see if I can get it off the ground, I'm a-okay with that. The big thing is getting a repricer early on. You got 200 active units at Amazon and you're thrifting, you need to have reprice it. It's a free 30-day trial and it's 10 damn dollars. And you're going to make your $10 the first day you have the repricer set up. 200 active units, you immediately get a repricer. I got a video. You literally can copy paste. I have the same exact settings today. That will help you get sales quicker, which makes it easier for you to make more money. Where she live? I don't know. Let me see. I don't know if you're talking about the person I was talking about. I had one book. It sold one book, one copy. Amazon relisted the same book. What's next? What do you mean, Judith? Merchant fulfilled or FBA? I know you do a little bit of both. I need more details. I'm new, so it was 2 months before I saw a profit. Now it's about $100. 6 months, around 1,500 bucks part time. Yeah, and Ward's working on getting some bigger relationships as well. So he's started planting the seeds early on, and I
I
think it
helped him
works
with
to your
that. I
benefit.
helped him with that. I get credit.
No, you don't, dude. If that's the
Yeah, I
case,
do.
you owe 50% of everything to everybody on this call that's ever sent you anything, dude.
Word, you can give me the thumbs up.
Main problem is how with the kitchen flow was buy cost input for each listing. Either I added a kitchen or once in my box goods lister. Everybody fixing it soon. Buy cost, all right. I'm gonna keep it a buck 50 again. Buy cost, I used to be worried about it, right? Like I paid $2 for this DVD, paid $1 for this. What I started doing is the best thing I ever did was take an average buy cost every quarter, every 6 months, every year. What's your average buy cost across the board for books, CDs, DVDs? That is going to make your life a lot easier instead of trying to micromanage your numbers. And I know some of us, we have, we got to be like so analytical, and it's hard not to when we have all these numbers in front of us, but getting away from tallying, the thrift stores and what thrift stores producing this, we kind of know this after a while. So don't get too caught up with if you are doing a separate buy cost for every single item. Some more info on the repricer video. Yeah, it's just I'll get it pulled up here. I'll put the link in the chat. The book sold FBA. Did it completely sell or was it like pending? Or I mean, it could be one of those things where maybe the sale actually didn't go through. So maybe it's sold and it's pending and it's still sitting there as active. All right. Sold. So it's still saying you have one available after one sold. That's fine. If it sells again, they'll go try to pick it. And if you don't have it, then you just they'll just say that you don't have it. I've had this happen, and they actually, I don't know how it happened. I sold like a $260 book one time on canning. I'll never forget it. It's like at the time it was the most expensive book I ever sold. Somehow I sold two copies and I got credit for both sales. I have no idea. I only sent one copy, I know for a fact, but I sold two copies and I made an extra 200 bucks just by them screwing something up on the back end. I'm sure these warehouses are absolute chaos with media. So yeah, there's nothing you have to worry about with it being FBA. There's no harm if it sells again. It's out of your hands, right? Now, if it's FBM, then they're going to be like, oh no, you said you had another copy. We didn't do nothing. But FBA, you kind of just roll with it. Who do we email to become a beta tester? Avery. DM him, tag him in this Facebook group, DM him on every single app he exists on until he gives you an answer.
Mike, are you a Skype, Microsoft Teams, or Zoom fan?
I use Zoom. That's why we're on Zoom right now. It's kind of was just I never really did like any video calls before I was a reseller. Like I never had them for work or anything. It was always just like phone calls.
I've used Reprice It since I started selling on Amazon.
Hey, this guy's playing the video
Five years.
in the background. Get him out of here. I hate hearing myself. All right, he's muted. We're good.
That was him talking. I don't know what you're talking about. That's
Yeah.
him. That was his brilliance.
Yeah, and if you're worried about like keeping track of your buy calls for taxes and everything, You'll get it all at a 1099 at the end of the year. Amazon will give you a 1099. It'll show you how much you sold and how much you paid Amazon. You'll probably cry for like 24 hours after you see how much you paid Amazon versus how much you made, but it does give you a breakdown. They also have the spreadsheet now, the PDF spreadsheet. If you go to your payments tab, you can request a summary report and it gives you a breakdown of your fees. So, like, if you are filing your own taxes, you can have a line item of like FBA selling fees, transit fees. I usually have like 5 or 6 different FBA fee line items when I file my taxes. I'm not a tax professional, so don't take my advice, but I have filed my own taxes since I started my business. And the PDF usually gives you a breakdown of everything you need throughout the year. I got you, Judith. You don't want to sell things FBM that you don't have. There's no getting out of it. There's no avoiding. It's kind of like the feedback. If you're selling FBM, you're at the will of Amazon when it comes to feedback and glitches, because if you do have that extra one, you're going to be like, I swear I didn't have it. I swear you could have video evidence, right? You could roll up like an episode of Cheaters and you got video evidence and they're like, nah, we ain't taking that. That's altered. That's AI. In the land of Amazon FBN, you don't have a leg to stand on. But FBA, you still can get feedback removed. You don't have to worry about them screwing up quantities. I know some people, they'll go to their shipments page and they'll say, oh man, it says I got 84 and I only sent, 42. And it's saying there's two of everything. Well, if it's still in receiving status, those numbers will change down to what it needs to be. Those numbers you worry about when it says closed, then that's when you have to worry about if there's a discrepancy in the quantity, right? So if you get shortchanged, then you just have to go and put it into Amazon, just download your go-to batch, upload that and say, hey, here's what I sent you guys. That has worked for people. Now, if you get extra, right, it says it's closed and it says you got 100 and you only sent 50, well, you could try to be the good Samaritan and say, hey, I only sent 50 and you said I have 100, but if you have paid 100 grand in fees last year, you're not going to be that motivated to go tell them that they double credited you for the items you sent. I would FBM. I don't trust UPS. This is true. Amazon holds you accountable for your local carrier, right? They have on-time delivery rate. If you go take it, you do your job, right? You get an order, you pack it that first 10 minutes of the order, you got it at the post office. Well, Max at the post office doesn't feel like doing his job today because he's eating a almond butter rye bread sandwich, right? And
Like a normal person.
like a normal person, and your stuff sits at the post office or UPS or FedEx, you are held accountable. You can even say, look, I dropped it off. Amazon holds you accountable to get it delivered on time. And there are situations, we've had people in my group that were banned from FBM. So, like, you can get banned from FBM and still do FBA. They'll just be like, hey, you can't be trusted packing your own packages. So you can get banned from FBM and still sell FBA, but I don't think it works vice versa. I don't think you can get banned from FBA and still sell FBM. But there are people that have had their FBM privileges revoked because of on-time delivery rates.
If the post office leaves a notice for the delivery and the customer doesn't pick it up for 5 days, that counts against your OTDR.
There you go. Sounds like Bob has that experience.
Once.
Let's see here. Is the profit loss tab included in the membership? Yeah, it's right in the Go2Lister. It's right on the tab. Everybody can see it. A big thing on the dashboard, if you're on Go2Lister, I always ask everybody, like, if you sit down and have a one-on-one with me, it's like, how many items did we sell in the past month? How many items did we send? Those are the two that are going to allow you to calculate your growth and see how many units you have to source in a month to get to your goals, right? You want to make 1,000, you want to make 5,000. Well, how much are we selling? How much are we sending? We can see our growth trajectory. Well, if we're making $500 with 200 units, well, then we know we got to get to, 400 units to quote unquote make 1,000, but we're going to sell some along the way. And we can see how long it's going to take us to get there if nothing changes. Maybe you have a good month where you send, an extra couple hundred units. That's only going to expedite the growth. But yeah, all that's right on the Go2Lister dashboard. The profit and loss, the inventory tabs. You can even look at your sales rank and kind of see how long it's taking you to sell things at certain ranks. It's pretty crazy. So someone had a USPS pickup and the truck caught on fire. They got dinged for like 20 packages. Yeah, even if you have pictures of the fire, they're still going to be like, nothing we can do. I don't know if anybody out here got it. I got it. They're shutting down one of the warehouses for like 2 months. Now, maybe they only sent it out to people that had inventory there, but I got a nicely worded email saying, hey, some of your stuff is in this warehouse. And unfortunately, for the next 2 months, we're not going to be able to get in there. We're not going to charge you fees, but we can't sell your stuff at this one warehouse. I did get that email. I'm not sure if it went out to everybody or just those that had items at that specific warehouse, but these things happen in Amazon land. And hopefully, I don't have a lot of stuff there. I don't think so. I've never even heard of the warehouse. I've never sent anything directly there. So I probably just have a few stragglers tied up somewhere. We're going to get compensated. No fees, dude. That's your compensation. Come on. Amazon, you think you get compensated for nothing? I'm surprised they're even waiving the fees for the stuff at the warehouse. Wordle Books is offering me $28 for a textbook, while Thrift Books offer me 7. It's an already conditioned market. I'm also getting Amazon. Okay, so little cheat code. Thrift Books is not in the business of textbooks. World of Books is always going to be better when it comes to textbooks offers. You're either going to go with World of Books or Books Run for textbooks. Take the $28. If there's some highlighting, you should be A-okay. And then if for some reason they try like saying, "Oh yeah, San, your book sucks. It's all beat up." Take photos of it before you send it, and then if they try running that game, reach out to support and be like, "Yo, you know who I am? Like I'm on calls with big people in the space, and they'll credit you your $28." I've had to do that with Books Run. I've had bad experiences with Books Run, although Ward makes millions off Books Runs. They just see me. They're like, "Oh, this guy's from Philly. We're in Philly. The hell with them. We ain't giving them no money." But yeah, their books is always going to be the lowest offer for textbooks. They're more in like the faster moving fiction type books. They're going to pay more usually than sell back your book does. Yeah, you pay 50 cents for it, take a few photos and see what they say. Yeah, see, Ward gets jammed up with World of Books. I get jammed up with Books Run. I don't know. I don't know how it works. All right. I appreciate you. Avery will have this recording out to him later tonight, so we'll probably blast out an email with this or upload it and put out the unlisted YouTube link for those that want the replay. But like I said, once the scouting app fully rolls out, you will have trigger videos from Avery, from me, full walkthroughs, all of that stuff. If you guys ever have questions, just tag me on the Facebook group. I'll answer the questions usually within a day or two. The same with Avery. And if you're not in the beta for the scanning app, bug Avery until he gets you in. Android, Apple, we should be good to go. Excited. Hopefully, we have this conversation next month and we all are canceling our Scoutly and Scout IQ subscriptions at the same time, right? We all can kind of correspond our cancellation. So like they can be like, what the hell? We just got like 50 cancellations at one time. But I'm excited for it to get the actual data. And I appreciate you all hanging out with me and keep crushing it, keep scanning, and I'll talk to you next month.